It started around 2 years ago when a number of IFST members came together and started to really have a conversation about risk management, how it is managed in different sections of the food supply chain, and also potentially some of the challenges around verification of risk and the time that is involved in developing systems, verifying whether those systems are effective, and considering whether they do deliver safe food on a regular basis. So one of the areas that we first looked at when we came together as a group was to recognise that our current practice of hazard analysis and risk assessment, risk management, isn't broken, but it could be enhanced. And we had many conversations to set a context for where we could then do some work as the IFST. The other element that really framed our discussions was that there's an increasing complexity in food chains, not only in terms of geographic complexity and the number of tiers of suppliers that could come from anywhere in the world and how that informed your risk management, but also in the nature of the data and information that we were collecting around food. Not only food safety and intrinsic quality attributes, but also much more widely as we considered the sustainability footprint of food. And that created a real challenge around the volume of data and also the velocity of data, how much data was coming to us and how we then had to manage that data and verify its appropriateness for managing risk, but also how representative it was of the potential issues that could arise in the food chain. So as we came together, we really started to think about this whole aspect of how do we demonstrate that a business is competent to deliver safe food? How can we demonstrate that? What information do we need to collect? And also, how do we demonstrate the competency of individuals that are operating along the food supply chain? And the current reality is that we are all involved in data management in a range of ways. We're collecting data, we're analysing it, we're taking decisions that are based on it in terms of food safety issues that could be associated with a product. And when it comes to verification, there is a whole set of activities around compliance and around food supply chain standards. There are questions being asked about the competency of some of our activities of verification and also issues around consistency of approach. So we came together to say, how can we as the IFST begin to find a way through and develop some key outputs that are of value to IFST members, to regulators, and also to the industry more widely. So one of the first elements we developed was we looked at the technological principles for how we could manage data. And if you look at the recent FST journal, you will see that Rachel Ward has produced a really fascinating and deep article around enabling digitization to reduce risk in food supply chains. I would really recommend it to you to read because it starts with a set of general principles around food risk management. It then also, we came together to really think about, with all that data that we are collecting, what is the really critical information for food risk management processes? And the article was just one of the first outputs that I would signpost you to. The next output that we're finalizing right now is to develop an infostat which focuses very much on risk management, and risk management rather than hazard analysis, which is another mechanism that we use to identify food safety hazards in the supply chain and the means of their control. So in the next few months, excuse me, in the next few months, you should be able to see the infostat as it comes out. We also had a group, Mark Swainson and John Grayson, that were looking at data and data collection in manufacturing and the emerging technologies that are in place to assist us to gather data. Remember, I was talking about volume and velocity. How do we manage that? To consider those aspects of, do we need data real time? Do we, can we have data with a delay and still be able to manage food safety risk? But how can we drive forward our capability to produce safe and legal food? And the other aspect that we have been looking at is developing a white paper around thinking in more detail about the competencies of businesses, how we demonstrate them, how we take our existing approaches around third-party certification, how we consider areas of risk-based legislation rather than one-size-fits-all legislation associated with food businesses, and how the IFST can develop a series of showcases and thought processes around food risk management in the future. Okay, I've talked to you about a whole range of the activities that we're doing. What we're doing right now is those outputs are all coming to the fore. We're finalizing them, but we're just taking a refresher right now to think about what are the next steps. Where do we go forward to think about food risk management systems in the future? So if you've got any ideas as IFST members, if you'd like to get involved in our further development of tools for members in the industry on food risk management, please do get in touch. And thank you for listening today.